You've probably never heard of these Joy-Cons, but you should not dismiss them. That's right, we're checking out the IINE Twin Lumina. I don't know if that's how you say the company's name. I'm guessing it's IINE, I-I-N-E, but these are them. They come with the center part. Now, there is no charging port, even though there looks to be a cutout hole, like actually like in the mold, but they haven't actually put a charging port there. So that's a little bit of a downside, but these are actually really surprising. Now, when they sent them to us, we get sent products that we just don't check out on the channel. If we don't think they're worthy, we don't do a video, right? And I'm sorry, IINE, but I was kind of expecting that with these. And then when I got them out and started using them, I was like, oh, I am so wrong. Like, these are actually really good. So let's crack on with it. Now, before I go over the specs of everything, I want to show you the physical look of them versus the actual Switch 2 Joy-Cons, right? So let's check them out. Here are the normal Switch 2 Joy-Cons, right? And they're fine, aren't they? They're fine. They look aesthetically pleasing. They look good with the system, but you know, I just feel like they're not very ergonomic, not very comfortable versus everything else you can get. So these still are magnetic. So they are just, you know, they've got the same little swippity doodah on the back just there. And let's just check out the right side. So you can see overall, it's a little bit larger looking and the button placement and the stick placements are slightly different. And then if we turn them to the side, this is where stuff gets crazy because we got way better ergonomics. This is way more like a controller and it's got this really nice like plastic textured grip on it. We've got back paddles here and we've got a turbo and a macro button. I'll go through that later, but you can see just overall, it's a much larger design, but whilst still keeping a similar aesthetic face on to the original Joy-Cons. Many of the third-party Joy-Cons that we see are like way bigger, you know, like, and some people just don't have big hands. They're like, you know what, like Andy, they're just too big for me. Find something smaller, and these are that. Now, I will tell you about hand feel in a minute, but let's just check out the left side. It's pretty much the same as what we've just seen on the right side, but obviously a little bit different. So here is the left-hand side, and straight away you can see the D-pad is totally different because it's actually got a D-pad rather than just like the buttons here, right? And it is like this floating design and it is a clicky D-pad, but it's actually really nice. We'll get onto the D-pad in a bit. And this one's more reminiscent of the actual official like Joy-Con, but again, you can see the stick placement is there's more of an angle rather than it being straight up and down. Like the stick is slightly to the left, the D-pad is slightly to the right, and that does aid ergonomics. Now with this side as well, again, way better ergonomics and the back paddle and obviously the turbo and macro buttons as well. But you'll see that there's no charge port on the actual Joy-Cons, and that's because it actually charges through the Switch 2, and you can even charge them whilst the thing is in sleep mode, unlike another popular brand that are making Joy-Cons at the minute. So let's just pop these on, and you can see it doesn't really change the size that much in comparison to these. It's a little bit wider, but it still keeps the Switch aesthetic whilst giving you these massive controller grips. Now, for people that have absolutely monstrously large hands, these are probably still too small for you, right? But for medium and smaller hands, these are going to be way better. Now, my wife has like miniature baby hands, right? Her rings, she has to get custom made because her fingers are smaller than the average size. And she always complains that third-party Joy-Cons are just too big. When she tried this, she was like, oh, these are brilliant. She was like so happy with them. And I've got like medium-ish size hands, right? And they're fine for me as well. Now, if I turn them on, you can see that they're massively lit up. Now you can change the RGB and you can turn them off in the app. Yes, there is an app as well, but they are like very bright, maybe too bright for my camera settings to actually like show off how bright these are, right? But they are very bright RGB LEDs. Oh, and I forgot to say, aesthetically, I love the fact that they've put the additional buttons on the back and up high, so you're never gonna press them by accident. And also it just makes it way more aesthetically pleasing on the front. You're not getting extra buttons in the way, you're not pressing any extra buttons, like you're just getting to the standard buttons very, very easily. Then if you really want to assign turbo or macros or adjust these back paddles, you can do it from the back. I actually prefer this design over having them all on the front. And you can use them wirelessly as well. Again, we'll go over the spec in a minute. We're just looking at the aesthetics. Now, in terms of grip, if I hold my hand. The right thumbstick is still a little bit low. You know, it's not like up on this kind of angle, which is why many other third-party Joy-Cons kick them out a bit so that you've got better grip here. But this is still way better grip than the traditional Joy-Cons, right? So you can kind of grip it at the back of this part and then just shift your hand down a bit lower, and it's still really comfortable, much more comfortable than the Switch 2 Joy-Cons. But it looks great. I think these look absolutely fantastic, and they are comfortable. They are very, very comfortable. But enough of that. Let's check out the specs. What I love about the IINE Twin Lumina is they're actually using Nintendo Switch 2 protocol, so they immediately connect. You don't have to do any faffing around trying to like pair them to the system. You just put them on the device, they pair immediately. It's got a dedicated chat button because it's using Nintendo Switch 2 protocol, so it's got a proper chat button, which is absolutely brilliant. It wakes from sleep, so let me just show you that. And now it's turned off. Let's just press the home button, and there you go, straight away, immediately logged in. Just tap any button on this left-hand side, and then it will wake up that left side as well. Now, being Nintendo Switch 2 protocol, that means they've actually got 9-axis gyro, just like the official Joy-Con 2s, right? Which is wicked. So if you like gyro games, it's got 9-axis gyro on these Joy-Cons. Now, one glaring omission is that it doesn't have mouse mode. You can see there's no sensor, so there is no mouse mode, so that, you know, is a bit of a con. Now, it still does have rumble, but it is not Nintendo Switch 2 HD Rumble 2. It's just regular rumble. And now this rumble can be adjusted in the app, but actually I quite like the rumble in this, surprisingly. You know, just standard rotary rumble is actually quite nice. So even my wife said when she used them, she was like, the rumble's really good in this. And I was like, it's not HD Rumble 2 though, just bear that in mind. But she was like, I don't care. It's nice. So she's very honest. If she don't like something, she will just tell me outright. She just tells me her honest opinion every time. And I agree with her. The rumble is actually quite good. Now, my absolute favorite feature has to be the fact that these have Hall effect glide stick joysticks, right? Now, they even say on the box just here, contactless sticks. Now, this is so cool because what this is not only does it have Hall effect joysticks, right? So they are much, much, much larger modules than the official ones. So these are like really small, not much range of motion, really like inaccurate. These are full-size joysticks, so you've got way better accuracy, way better movement, but being Hall effect means you're way less likely to get drift because there's no contact, right? Whereas these ones, on the official ones, they work by friction, so there's literally friction causing the input. That's how it registers input, and it wears out over time. It can get dirt and stuff inside it, and then that can cause joystick drift, which we all do not want, which the Switch 1 suffered greatly from. Now, these don't work on the same premise. These use magnets, so it's a contactless design, so dirt and stuff like that can't get in the way of these magnets. Now, there's still a very, 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 very slim chance of drift, but that's just the case with any sort of mechanism, right? But these are way better, better accuracy, better dead zone, all that kind of stuff. But that's not even my favorite feature. They've put the glide pads underneath. So the official Switch 2 joysticks in the Pro Controller 2 have like silicon dishes underneath the cone of the joystick. So when it's at maximum extension, that plastic is not grinding on the edge. So if you've ever used a controller and it feels a bit grindy when you're at maximum like angle, that's because it's just a piece of plastic rubbing against another piece of plastic. But these have a silicon dish underneath, and that makes it feel super smooth. And that's what the official Pro 2 controller is using as well. And they are buttery smooth, like so smooth that they're brilliant. Like they're really, really good. Now, I just want to show you as well, the joysticks have no cardinal snapping, which is a good thing if you don't know what that is. Cardinal snapping means it would just snap to the axis here, like the axis, which we do not want, right? So you can see if I like hover around this, it's not snapping to it, which means I can make real fine adjustments very well. So these are really well done joysticks, and they're super smooth. I love these glide pad things underneath here, like it's so good. Now, the other thing as well that I really like about this is they are using micro switches. Now, this could be a bit of a turnoff for some people because it means that the face buttons are clicky. So let me just give you a quick demonstration of the official Joy-Con 2s, right, which I've just put on this the IINE like centerpiece. But I'm just going to press the B button a bunch, and you should be able to hear that. So really silent because it's like a membrane input, right? But these are silicon dampened micro switches. Now you'll hear a click like a mouse switch. So whilst they are loud, they are super accurate, very fast, and they have much greater longevity and lifespan versus membrane switches. But what's even better is they've actually listed the spec of these switches. So these are actually using Kale switches. So Kale switches are found in like really good mechanical mice, anything like that. They make like loads of mechanical switches. So they are using Kale switches, and they can be found across the whole thing. So they've got micro switches in the D-pad, which is actually really good. I didn't think I was gonna like this floating design, but I do actually like it. It's really, really decent. And also they're found in the face buttons, in the bumpers. But what I find a little bit weird is that I can't feel them in the triggers. These feel like membrane triggers to me, whereas the bumpers are clicky mechanical switches. So here's a quick sound test of the bumpers versus the triggers. So this is the bumper, and this is the trigger. Inconsistent. That's a bit of a con there. I would have even preferred it the other way round so that the triggers were more responsive than, you know, the bumpers. But it is what it is. I can deal with it. They're still very good, but it's just a bit of an inconsistency there. The other thing in terms of inconsistency, which could be a pro for you, is the back paddles are like very stiff. So you really need to like push them in for them to like actually actuate right. Now, my wife hates back paddles, but she didn't even realize they were there because they're not like easy to press by accident. So she actually saw this as a positive, whereas for me, it's more of a con. So it's like going to be on a per person basis whether you like this or not. But what's cool is with a combination of the turbo and the macro button, if you hold both of those down for I think 3 seconds, it will actually disable the back paddle, so you can't assign anything or anything like that. It just makes them useless, right? Which is pretty cool, but I'll go over the extra features in a moment. Now with the D-pad, right, if I press down and hold left or right, it does input, but you can feel when you're clicking the other way, so you do have to kind of put some force into it. But for those playing like specific platformers, you might not like this. It might not be like as tight as you might like it, but you know, it is what it is. Now I'm going to show you the extra features on the back, right? So we've got turbo and macro. You can assign turbo to a button. So let's just press T and like this button here, because it's the zoom in, right? So if I press and hold it, do you see how it's going like whoop, 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 whoop? Because it's basically pressing this button as if I was doing this loads, right? That's what turbo is. Turbo is just like spamming an action for you without you having to manually press it yourself. Now you can assign turbo to anything on the left side, anything to the right side, but you cannot assign stuff from the left side to the right side or vice versa. That's why there's physical buttons on each side, because they are their own independent controller. You can't like put, I don't know, B to the left back paddle and vice versa, right? Oh, if you press turbo and then the same button again, it's going to do it automatically for you. Now, if you press turbo and that button again, it's going to just turn it off. So now I can press and hold that without it spamming that button. Now, if I want to assign that to the back paddle, I'm going to press the M button and the back paddle at the same time. It's going to vibrate. I'm going to press that once and then the back paddle again. And now when I press the back paddle, you can see if I press and hold it, it's actually going to zoom in and stay zoomed in as if I'm pressing and holding the trigger, which is really good. I call this true button swap. So I've assigned this to the back there, and if I press and hold, it will still act like a held button, and if I tap it, it will act like a tap. And that is true button swap, which is really, really good. I love that it's got that, but it's also got macro. So if I do it to the right side, right, you can assign a macro input. And what I mean by macro is a series of inputs to that back paddle. So I'm going to press M and the back paddle, it's vibrated. I'm going to go up, left, right, jump again. And I don't know, like, I'm just going to like shoot a couple of times and then press that back paddle, right? Oh, it's got gyro on. So now I'm going to press that back paddle, and I'm going to let go. And you can see that series of actions that I've recorded, it's now playing it from that back paddle press. But you just saw I pressed it once and it did that series of actions once. But if I press turbo and then the back paddle, right, now it's going to do it indefinitely because I've assigned turbo to that back paddle, and it's just going to keep repeating that macro series as long as I leave it to, effectively, right? So it's just going to keep doing it and doing it and doing it. This is really cool because not many third-party Joy-Cons allow you to actually turbo the macro on a back pedal, right? And it will just keep going and going and going. You can see it even inputs movements when I like shook the camera left and right, just like that, which is really cool. Now, if I press turbo and that macro again, it will turn it off, and I can press that back pedal and it will just do it once for me, right? And then it will just stop until I press it again. So there we go. Now, if I wanted to cancel out, I can press and hold the macro button for, I think it's something like 5 seconds, and it should, now it's just vibrated. And now if I press the back pedal, nothing's happening, which is really, really good. So you can use both turbo and macro, or you can just assign a true button swap to these back pedals. You can pretty much do everything you would want to do with these features, which is really cool, because many other third-party Joy-Cons handicap you in one way or another. These just let you do whatever. Now, there is an app as well, right? So let's just zoom in on this app. Now, you can do button testing, you can do the firmware upgrade, you can see product details, how to connect, there's like guides on here, but if you click on custom, then you can, I'm only connected to the left side, because remember they're independent controllers, so you have to connect one and then the other, right? So I'm gonna just look at this side, so you can do stuff here, you can go to joystick, you can change the dead zones and the curves, you can invert the axis and stuff like that, which is crazy. You can assign macros within the app, which is pretty cool. You can change turbo, speed as well, which is very cool. You can even turn the lights on or off, change the brightness, change whether it's breathing or not, or the colors via the app. And then you've got other as well, so you can change the vibration intensity. You can calibrate as well, which is really cool, and change the idle shutdown time. But I don't even bother with that, because as soon as I'm done playing, I press the power button, or I just go to home and turn it off, and then they turn off anyway. So I'm really impressed by these Joy-Con alternatives. I love to see more alternatives of different shapes as well, with similar features, but maybe slightly different design or whatever. I just love it. Like, the more the better, right? Because then everyone's got a choice. If you've got large hands, maybe something else is better for you. If you've got smaller hands, these are probably better for you. Or maybe you just prefer the aesthetics or the features or the fact that you can do turbo and macro and button swap all on the back pedals. And, you know, they just look super cool. I really like the aesthetic of these. But how much are they? Well, they come in at $79.99, or I think they're £61. Now, I tried to check out on the website just to see how much it would be for shipping to the UK, and it was £6. So that's probably, what, $10? But I'm not in America, so I don't actually know. You will have to check that out yourself. We will have links down in the description so you can just see whether or not it's worth it to ship it to your country. Because sometimes, unfortunately, when you order stuff like this from overseas, depending on your country, it can really ramp up the price of shipping. So whilst it might only be £6 or around $10 for me to import it to the UK, it might be far more than that for your country, depending on where you are in the world. So just check that out. I also want to say as well, they are on AliExpress for way less than the prices I said from their website. So if you're versed in ordering from AliExpress, maybe check that out as well. But again, we do have the link down in the description, which will take you to their actual website, so you know that you're getting them direct from them. Now, do I recommend them? I actually do. Yeah, I'm really impressed by these. I prefer the aesthetic of these, even though they are smaller, they are still really comfortable for me to hold. I don't mind shifting my grip down from like a palm grip here to more of like a tucked grip to get to this right stick. I like it looking more like a Switch. I don't know why, I just do. I find everything about it really cool. The only downsides, like I said, is the actual triggers are a little bit meh. The back pedals are a little bit hard to push, but I like that you can disable them entirely. I like that the app actually works and lets you do everything that you want. There is no mouse mode, again, unfortunately, but you know, it is what it is. But for what they are, I think they're very good, and I do recommend them. So those are the Joy-Cons you've probably never heard of, but now you do. Let me know your thoughts of the IINE Twin Lumina down in the comments. Have you got some already? Are you going to buy some? Let me know your thoughts. If you've got alternatives, let me know what you've got and like what you love or hate about them, and what you'd like to see from future Switch 2 Joy-Cons as well. I'm Andy. This is 1 to 8KB. Why am I doing this? I never do this. Go down there, like this video, subscribe, become a member, and you get to chat to us on a private Discord. And I'll see you in the next one. Check out the link down in the description. See ya.